Did it start a long time ago?
No.
Me too.
I think it's starting shortly.
I thought it was starting at noon. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, but it's, you know, sense.
Check, 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 check. Trying to pick up the owl. Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
It did, I think we should put out some more blocks, maybe.
Okay.
It did adjust down. It is also.
Okay, go ahead. And then we need to screen because we don't have the
Okay.
So if you wanted to put your.
Okay, that's very appropriate. Was that good else?
This, I'm gonna put this underneath those two.
They just- Great, so that'll be so.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
here, see, it's on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll do it today. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
You're gonna need you
Okay.
second.
My shoes.
Yeah.
Unless you want wet socks.
Okay.
Are we all going outside?
You have an email that I brought me.
Yeah, or do you want?
So I think we're.
Okay. So Rabbi.
You can bring it up. Do we all want to, go out and follow? Is that?
So welcome everybody, to this celebration of life and being together as we remember Bev. We just wanted to share with everybody who's on Zoom. I'm looking here, but they're on Zoom. That all of us are going to go outside and actually accompany Bev into this space. We will be pausing 7 times with our pallbearers. You know who you are. And I'll explain more a little bit later about why that is. But just so that all of you on Zoom could still remain present for us, you're of course part of this space, but we're all going to go outside and bring in Bev to her family and to her village as we prepare to lay her to rest. So let's all go outside. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes, I think, yeah, and put it in your packet.
Maybe seated. The Hebrew words that we just surrounded the presence of this beautiful family with mean one thing I ask of divine presence, and that's just to be with you. And this is such a beautiful sentiment. It's a sentiment of human connection that even in our most difficult times in life, as long as we have at least one other person to be with us along the journey, then it makes it all worth it. So a prayer, a blessing for this family as you begin or are continuing in some ways the long process of grieving the matriarch of your family. Having a blessing of connection, of support, supporting each other through all of the highs and lows of the journey of grief is my blessing for you. And we say, Amen. So you'll notice that that we have a service outline for those of you that are joining on Zoom. I hope that you were able to get the service outline as well. And if not, you can just take it all in and be with us on our journey today. I wanted to mention just one thing about those 7 rests that each of us took as we were accompanying Bev out here with us. And the significance of the number 7, there are of course 7 days in creation, and it embodies and symbolizes this aspect of completion, right? When the 7 days were completed, everything was tov, everything was good. And I think that it struck me as really fascinating that one of the first things that was mentioned to me about your loved one, Bev, was when Dave was talking just a couple days ago about your relationship with Bev, and you said, we lived a complete life. Everything was great. We lived out all of our dreams together, and we had a complete and full life. So acknowledging that completion, acknowledging the beautiful story of 2 beloveds who spent their lifetime together on a big adventure is what we are here to do. So I figured we could start by just reading together the lyrics to a beautiful song. Thank you for those of you that helped me choose this song, which as I was reading through not just these lyrics, but the whole lyrics to the song, it really embodies everything that you shared with me about that spirit and the spirit of adventure out on the water and all of life's lessons that you all took from the way that Bev lived her life. So if you could join me together with these beautiful lyrics from One Particular Harbor by Jenny Buffett. Let's read. And there's that one particular harbor sheltered from the wind, where the children play on the shore each day, and all are sweet women most mysterious calling heart, so far, so near. I can see the day when my soul breathes, and I finally here. Beautiful. So welcome, everyone. My name is Rabbi Colby. I'm so grateful that you all are letting me into your family and showing me Bev's beautiful spirit. And I really just appreciate the gift of you sharing her with me. So as I mentioned to the children and to Dave a couple days ago, this is called a funeral, but in Hebrew it's called a levaya, because there's really no Hebrew translation of the word funeral. And levaya means accompanying. So just as we embodied accompanying Bev's spirit, we also are accompanying her spirit to whatever is next. And everything that I've learned about Bev from all of you in the last few days, I know that she's up for a good adventure. So she's definitely on her way to something great, and it's our job today to accompany her on her journey, on her adventure. So we're going to begin with a reading by Sarah. Sarah, if you want to come up here and share with us your words.
So this is from a poem that Grandma wrote in 2015. Okay, I'll try to remember. It's called I Have Gathered All the Shells. I have gathered all the shells I care to gather, combed all the beaches stiffening legs can comb, seen oceans smooth as silk or lashed to lather, wandered all the world I'll ever roam. I've had long hours of love with my one and only, and hours of sharing joys with family and friends. I know our cruising life need never be lonely, but the road well traveled sooner or later bends. What lies around the corner I still must see. I still want something new in front of my bow, but the pace is slower. Challenges need not be. Just being here is challenge enough for now. So what is left to do to give life best? What new outlook, what worlds are left to find? Not physical, kind to the body is best. It's time for doing adventures in my mind. I can still roam, but on the beaten path, re-strewn passages no longer have a lure. I use new tools to dodge the ocean's wrath, choose harbors I know will let us sleep secure. We travel where we know the sun is found. Warmer is better than cold as our bodies slow. Choose places where people, culture, and beauty abound that freshen our heart and mind and body and soul. I have gathered all the shells I care to gather. I've bought all the things I ever cared to buy. It's life and not things. It's family and friends I'd rather have to treasure when I come to that last goodbye.
We'll continue on, and if you turn to page 2, we'll read together this beautiful English translation of Psalm 23, asking for what we need to move on in this world without them. Join together, please. The Holy One is my guide, my light and soul. We journey together over fertile hillsides and rest beside nourishing springs. This is my spirit ever renewed, for my God leads me down paths of wholeness. Even when my steps lead into the kingdom of death, I do not fear, for I know you are with me. Your presence, your shelter, is comfort me. With you, I set myself right in the face of deepest sorrow, and soon my joy is filled to overflowing. As I journey on, nothing but kindness and love shall follow until the day I finally reach to my port, my destination. Amen. I'd now like to invite up Duncan to read some words on behalf of Talia.
For years, every couple of days, without fail, there would be an email in my mailbox. Where are we? Progress report. Forward. Wine and water. Most of the time, there were updates of Graham and Gramps' amazing life. Sometimes they were jokes that were forwarded on. All the time, they were consistent. Every few days, they talked about the boat, the visitors, and the amazing places they visited. Every signature listed the cell numbers or the current location of the boat. They were sent anytime they had internet. I was always amazed to see the names that I'd met years before, people who kept showing up in different places. Grams did that to people. She was one of those people who you couldn't forget and always wanted to check in on and see how it was going. They shared their stories and they loved hearing about everyone around them. They formed lifelong friendships with the people who to this day know and remember them. Graham's biggest strength was her quest for knowledge, her ability to engage and love the stranger who very quickly were no longer strangers, because Graham's found out everything about them through her questions and hospitality. This connected her to everyone she met. She truly wanted to know everything. Gigi taught this to her. Learn something new every day. She took this to heart. Graham's passed on her best qualities to her family. The drive which Shmuel refers to as the Figus high horse to all the women. That which has pushed us forwards in life and helped us to succeed. The quest for knowledge, the patience to read every plaque in the museum to some of her grandchildren. Graham, you are never going to be gone because we can look around and see so many of your traits here. We love you and we miss you, but you will never be forgotten because we have a constant memory every single time we open our eyes. I love you, Grams.
And now we'd like to invite Dory up for some more words in loving memory and blessing.
These words were written by Graham in her late 60s. And I think in so many ways embody Graham and Graham's ability to have a dream and make it possible and to live life into that dream in its fullest. It's called In the Lee of the Windward Shore. When we were very young, very, very young, still in our teens actually, we were already deep into the mystique of sailing. Everything about boats was of interest to us. Everything had an aura of glamour. Our interest in each other started with a mutual interest in sailing. Dave, born and raised around Wisconsin lakes, already knew how. I, a frustrated water baby, born and raised in the far western dry side of Iowa, was eager to learn. And somewhere, sometime in those early years, when we were ever so young, we decided the perfect title of a sailing story would be In the Lee of the Windward Shore. The windward shore, the far shore from which the wind is blowing. The goal, the end of a hard slog to windward, a place reached only with skill and effort. Anybody can sail downwind. A lot of hard, wet effort. The lee, the area protected from the wind that lies immediately under the windward shore. Calm, smooth waters, a desirable place. For us, it symbolized our life to be struggling, sloshing, bashing through the waves, honing skills to do it ever better, joyously challenging whatever was thrown at us until we would finally reach that lee of the windward shore. Now, near the end of our 6 decades, were we ever really ever so very young? I think we have reached that lee. We are still sailing, and occasionally we still have that bash to windward, but our hearts and our minds are tuned to the protected waters. We've reached our goals. We deserve our rest. So here's a toast. We raise our glasses high to the lee of the windward shore.
I invite us all to turn to page 3 and read together this beautiful poem by John Donahue called Be a Knot. Together. On the day when the weight settles on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when you are always spring behind the green stone and the ghosts of loss get you. May a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure, blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of joy. The candles
in the. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the care of the floods be yours. May the fluence be yours. May the protection and the ancestors be yours. And so may it flow. And now I'd like to invite up Isabel to read some words on behalf of Kylie and Andrew.
Beverly Figus can be described by a plethora of words or titles. Our matriarch, the captain of the Cloverleaf, an explorer of seas and land. She was headstrong, witty, incredibly smart wordsmith, a lifelong student and educator, a friend to anyone new or old, but above all, to us, she was our Grams. When Kylie was 5, she made art with a small blurb underneath, describing why she loved our grandma. She wrote, "I love my grandma because she brings me presents and always takes me to McDonald's." We believe she was comparing herself to all the other kids who did just that with their grandparents and was possibly too young to comprehend the incredibly unique nature of what our relationship with our grandparents was and the remarkable adventures that we went on with them. Now, as adults, we can describe our grandmother as the woman she truly was to us, a teacher. She was the woman who taught us how to debate and stand our ground, to value the ability to travel and explore as much as possible. She taught us to connect and properly listen to what someone had to say, and to never ever stop learning, even if she did on occasion fall asleep in the opera lectures. She taught us that life provides endless possibilities, chances, experiences, and that there is no limit to how many times you can watch a musical, especially Evita. One of the biggest lessons learned, which we'll one day hopefully pass on to our own grandchildren, was to memorize the 2- and 3-letter words in Scrabble. She often hummed the Doris Day song, "Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see. What will be, will be." And that means more now than ever. Grams, you have been a constant mentor to us in all facets of life, and we cannot thank you enough for the support, wise advice, and encouragement to be strong, curious, and assertive when justified, and always looking forward to the horizon. We cherish all the time we spent together with Grams and Gramps, wherever they were in the world, from the Mediterranean, Caribbean seas to Lester's Diner in Fort Lauderdale. No matter where you both were, the time spent on the boat meeting the interesting people who would come aboard was a testament to both yours and Gramps' warmth, curiosity, and kindness. You both always took the time to hear those people's stories as well as your own. Both Grams and Gramps never settled for sore knees or broken stabilizers, but always strove to explore, discover, build, and educate continuously through their whole lives, which will be forever inspirational. We'll miss you both so much, or we'll miss you so much. From across the world, we send all our loves to Gramps and the whole family. We miss you all. Love, Kylie and Andrew.
So again, I just want to express gratitude for all of you for letting me into your family in this way. You know, the relationship between rabbi and family is so fascinating because even though I did have a chance to meet Bev and Dave over at Casey's Pond, I still don't even know a fraction of the amount of experiences that you all had with Bev. So thank you for trying to allow me in, and I just want to express my gratitude to you all. Our lives are measured by the experiences of those who travel with us on the journey of life. There is someone in this room who traveled with Beverly for most of her life, who is her beloved companion and adventure partner for life, Dave. Dave describes his life with Beverly as easy, fun, and adventurous, and complete. They did it all, and she was the best companion he could ask for in this lifetime. Beverly was feisty, strong, humorous, and fiercely independent. Jory describes Bev as the matriarch of a rowdy, boisterous clan, whip smart, unbelievably competent, with limitless curiosity and a thirst for adventure. Even though it was Dave that exposed her to sailing when another sorority sister wasn't interested in going sailing with him, but she was. From then on, she was the captain of the ship, both literally and figuratively. She lived life on her terms, from horseback riding, to sailing, to skiing, to traveling the world. She was always up for a good adventure. And even through her fierce independence, she was always willing and excited to share her passions with those that she loved. Because of this unique quality of Bev sharing her passions with others, she changed the trajectory of many people's lives, including those in this room. Adam remembers this through full moon sail rides when they would chase the moon into the night. John remembers the year on the boat with his parents when he was in the 7th grade, which was one of the most profound adventures of his life. Bev taught so many friends and loved ones how to sail and ski, and instilled in each one of them a true sense of carpe diem, seizing the day, living out our lives to the fullest. It is no surprise then that all of her children are living out their own versions of adventures now, with Bill, Adam, and John in beautiful Steamboat Springs, Tammy in Australia, and Holly living out Bev's main adventure on the harbor. And this extends, Lador Vador, from what we've heard today, from generation to generation, as Bev's grandchildren and great-grandchildren are also living their lives to the fullest in the same way that Bev modeled for each of you. This is Bev's legacy, a legacy of adventure, of an exciting life with no regrets, and of living and loving fully. Bev always knew that she wanted to be a mother, and one of her greatest achievements in life was raising 5 incredible and successful, to use Dave's words, children. Being the captain of the family ship came with blessings and challenges, and many of you described her parenting style as, this is putting it nicely, strong-willed at times and difficult to accept or understand in certain moments. However, the lessons she taught her children by leading by example are priceless and include, using your words, independence, teaching you all to be compassionate global citizens with strong morals and ethics, resilience and strength, responsibility, positivity, to always help those in need, and to not just take in relationships with others, but also to give. She was also an incredible grandmother to her grandkids and took great pride in the accomplishments of all of them. Beverly was a connector, and her captivating and curiosity of others drew others to being in relationship with her, and she cultivated lifelong friendships because of it. This was a perfect balance to Dave's more reserved nature. She was always invested in community through being on the board at the museum, involvement in the Jewish community, UJA, and always giving tzedakah to causes and organizations that were important to her. Beverly was also a true feminist even before it was easy or fashionable. She believed that with all of her heart, that the woman's place on the boat is at the helm. She was always doing something. She was very planned, organized, and always made sure that her family was fed and fed well, even when they argued when it was on the table. Dave remembers that with Beverly steering the boat, there were never any huge fights between them or in the family. And there was no one in the family that didn't get along. Big things, think big things. Beverly loved and respected her father Is and her mother Sylvia, may their memories be for a blessing, very much. Her biggest heartbreak in life was losing her beloved brother Mort many years ago in an accident. Her love of family permeated into her own life as she built her own family with Dave.
As her children started to build families of their own, Beverly always brought in spouses totally and completely into her family and her heart. This was probably because she always saw Dave's family as her family and vice versa, as they both had an extraordinary relationship with each other's parents as well as their own. The kind of love that Beverly gave to her family was a stable and dependable love, a real and genuine love, the kind of love that you feel deeply in your bones. Through her long and complete life with Dave, she taught you all to find someone who you like to spend time with, simply who you like to spend time with, and who will go along the ride of life with you joyously. Through her vocation as a mother, she taught you all to work hard, play hard, and play healthy. As Marcy mentioned yesterday, in Judaism, we bury treasure. And today, we will bury the treasure of this family. Rest assured, however, because Beverly will show up for each of you in different ways. She will show up when flowers bloom, reminding us to care for those we love and tend to our garden. She will show up when you swim in water, reminding us to make time for the fun choice because it's always worth it. And most of all, she'll show up for each of you by asking you all the question at the end of every day: what adventure did you go on today? Beverly, our forever captain, beloved wife, mother, Graham, sister, daughter, and friend, we wish you a safe and exciting journey until we meet again. In Beverly's words, as Jory said earlier, we've reached our goals, we deserve our rest. So here's a toast. We raise our glasses high to the lee of the windward shore. Zichrona livracha, may Beverly's memory be forever for a blessing and live on through the adventure of life. And we say, Amen. So as we bring this journey to a close, there are two traditional Jewish prayers that we are going to come together and recite. The first is actually a prayer that will only be said today. It's El Malei Rachamim, which in the Jewish tradition is our way of lifting Bev's spirit up, out, imprinting it on our hearts forever, so that we may always remember the good times and the good positive memories that can hold us on the straight path. And the last one that we'll say together will be hopefully a prayer that all of you will recite in many different ways over the next few months, days, months, years, in remembering Beverly, which is called the Mourner's Kaddish. Before we go into these two prayers, I'd love to just mention kind of where we go from here. That's often the question that we hear so often. Where do we go? How do we get to the next step without our beloved or without our Graham? And there really is no clear answer, right? It's just about searching for the signs, searching for those moments where Bev is going to show up for each of us individually in different ways. But also there's this Jewish tradition after Bev is already buried of visiting the place of rest and placing a rock on the gravestone. And this is, some in the Jewish tradition say that this is about permanence, about placing, again, going back to embodying ritual. Placing that stone signifies an end to something, that this person is gone. And that is true. But one thing that I think is particularly relevant to Bev's life, of a life of adventure, is that there's something in nature, those of us that like to hike, of a cairn, which is a pile of rocks that show us the way when we get lost. So as we all go on our own journeys, whether it's literally placing a stone on Bev's grave in order to remind us of the way to go, or maybe even just in our own hearts and in our own lives, making sure that we're placing those stones on our hearts in honor of Bev and remembering the way to go and letting her help us even after she's no longer here in body, but that she can still guide our lives. That's the way that we can do it. So I invite everybody to rise, either in body or spirit. You can rise. Also, those of you that are joining on Zoom, I invite you to rise. And I will chant El Malay Rachamim, and I invite each of you to be with yourself, whether it's closing your eyes or just looking inward and bringing to mind all of the ways that Bev touched your life and lifting her up and out into the world. El Malay Shochen Bameroni Hamse Menucha Nechona Achai Kanfei HaShechina Bema'alot Kedoshim Utehorim Hezor Harakia Maskirim Et Nishmat Brina Bat Yisrael Vesilvia Shehalcha Le'olama Began Eden Tehe Menuchata Lachem Baal Yasirenias Bitzror Bitzror HaChayim Et Nishmata Adonai V'nachalata V'yanu B'shalom Amishkava V'nomar Amen. We'll read the English translation together in the middle of page 4. May the source of compassion grant rest and comfort in each of the ways of your presence. May the soul and spirit of every be a blessing to those who live. May your memory be a blessing and your power be may the bring your rest. May your spirit oneness that moves all time, space, and existence. May it be help you. And we say, Amen. I invite you to stay standing as we say for the first time, Mourner's Cottage. But hopefully may this remind us that this family is strong. This family and Bev's village and circle of people are wide and far and stretch across oceans. And so we can use each other to get through this. And most importantly, to be with Dave on the journey and to be supportive of whatever comes next. So we'll join together. You can find the transliteration on page 5 and the Aramaic on page 4. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba, Be'alma, Yira, Yute, Yanti, Yanti, Bechayakom, Ubiomekom, Ubchaye, the whole day, Yisrael, Ba'adala, Bisman, Ravi, the Ibn, Yehesh, Al-Medolah, Be'olam, Ulamei, Al-Maikam. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitachar, V'yitronam, V'yitnaser, V'yithadar, V'yitchalei, V'yithalal, Shemei T'kuchah, V'ritu, Le'ela, Minho, Yerchata, L'shirata, T'uchakata, V'nefemata, Damiran de Allah, the room. Yehish Lama Rabba Mishmai. The Falim Alayhi the Imama. They are called your straight say there, the Imam. You may be seated. So one blessing just to leave you all with is a theme that I've heard from many of you, which is real, which is that in many cases, the end of a person's life is not so glorious. And acknowledging that the last couple of years have been really hard for many of you in this room. To watch somebody that was so fierce and so strong lose that sense of independence and to switch those roles of being cared for to care for her. And so my blessing for all of you is may you be healed and may you begin to unpack the experience of the last 2 years, but also uncover many of the positive and sacred memories with your mom and your grandma that will hopefully sustain you in the years to come as you go on without her. And I just wanted to say again that this is an amazingly special family. I've really had a pleasure and a blessing to get to know each and every one of you and get to know Bev through your eyes. And I also just want to mention that I'm the rabbi here in Steamboat Springs, but that doesn't mean that I can't be here to support each and every one of you wherever you are. So always feel free to reach out. Dave, I hope to see you really soon to talk through this and figure out what's next. And I wish you all blessings on your journey. And thank you for sharing her with me. So this concludes the service. Bill, do you want to say a few words about what's coming next?
Well, because of circumstances that are sort of beyond our control, we're not going to accompany the body to the gravesite. Okay. We've got spring here in the mountains, and so that they're going to take her directly out to the cemetery. He will bury her. If anybody wants to spend time out there, you're welcome to go out there, but you just can't be very near the grave itself because of ground conditions. And then we're gonna stay here as a plan. Most, who wants to stay here, we have lunch and food available, and we will enjoy for a while together and go from there. Rabbi, thank you very much. You did just a wonderful job.
Thank you. Why don't we close by reading those beautiful lyrics by Jimmy Buffett? Yeah, well, you know the song better than me, so why don't you start singing?
You don't hang down. And not leave us with the ability to sing.
Do I give it a shot, anybody?
No.
Help you well enough to get it started? No?
No.
All right, well, let's just say it. Let's say it loud and proud. This one's for Beth, okay? And there's that.
For those who brought the casket here, we'll carry it back slowly to the car.
Pay attention to where you're walking through. There's the landmine.
Take her off.
Yeah.
It's basic because it was right in the cap. Nobody stepped in it. And we did it. Unbelievable.
Then of the sun top, yeah.